Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Warrior TV. And you've got me, Robbyn, the Addiction Warrior, and Abigail, the Musical Warrior. And this is the first episode of our new little series called Music as Medicine. And I know we've been quite excited to start this. So this is episode 1. How are you doing today, Abigail?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Melting a bit in the heat, but we're getting there. Right. So what I thought we could do to start off with is just sort of introduce both of us and sort of explain what Music as Medicine is going to be, why we wanted to start it, and just sort of a bit like that. So if you want to, do you want to go first, Abigail?
Yeah. So I was born into a musical family. That's how I got introduced to it. My mum's a musician and my dad and sister love it too. And then mum taught me music theory and piano. So I just kind of carried on with that. Learnt some other instruments like violin, and then eventually graduated with a music degree from Cambridge last year. And since then I've been releasing my own music and songs. So yeah, been enjoying that. And as part of my degree, some of the topics that I loved the most were music and science and music and psychology, and found how useful music can be in health. So doing this podcast hopefully will show other people how useful it can be as well.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. And then for me, I can't play musical instruments. I played clarinet when I was very little and then did not carry on with it. But for me, I have been dancing since I was very, very little. So I guess music has been involved in my life through the medium of dance. So it's always been in my life. I don't think I go a day without listening to some form of music. I feel like I can really express myself in music and just relate to music. I can find comfort in music. So for me, when I went into psychology as part of my degree, and there was a module that we did called neuroaesthetics, and in that they study things like how literature and art and dance and music affect the brain and how they can be used in therapy. So I already loved music, and when it was going on about how it works in the brain and how beneficial it can be in the brain, I was sold. I was so excited to do that module, and it was so interesting. And then when you mentioned sort of doing this podcast about how beneficial music can be sort of for people's health and just in people's daily lives, it's something that I really can relate to. I was like, yeah, definitely want to do that. So I think for me, that's what Music as Medicine is. It's ways that music can just aid us to look after each other and look after ourselves, and yeah, just to embrace it and feel better for embracing it as well. So yeah, that's me at least. I'll stop waffling now. But so this first session, we were going to talk about how music can be used to reflect our moods and our feelings and everything. So I wanted to go into a little bit of that and just sort of talk about how we use music to express ourselves, and even how music could actually change our emotions. So from one emotion to the other, and how music could actually potentially do that. So would you say that you use music to reflect your moods a lot, Abigail?
Yeah, definitely. So listening wise, if I'm in a mood where I just want to sort of get out my frustrations or whatever, I might pick some songs that are useful for that. Or, if I'm really happy and I want to just celebrate something, then I'll put on some happy tunes that I can dance to or something. And then I also have it sort of in the songs that I write as well. And I think that's a really useful way for reflecting my moods is through what I actually compose. So, for example, the song I Wish, which I sang last time, that sort of reflected like sadness and confusion that I was feeling. And others that I've done sort of reflect anger and desire to make a change. So I've written one called She Cries, which looks at challenges women face, especially in workplaces and stuff. But it can also just reflect like love and happiness. Like I've written a song called Valentine's Day and The Greatest Day, which I wrote for my wedding. So being able to sort of reflect all these different moods in the songs, I think is really helpful.
No, that's brilliant. That all sounds amazing. It must be really quite empowering when you're able to write a song that is able to capture how you feel better than speaking ever could.
Yeah, it is. And definitely, like She Cries, like I said, for example, it gets in some of my views on society and life in general, as well as others that are then more personal, and being able to cover sort of all those different aspects. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah, and I think for me, I definitely sort of reflect how I'm feeling based on listening to music. Like sometimes I will just, if I'm not having a good day and I'm feeling really frustrated at the tiniest of things, like, it's bad when you're getting annoyed at like a piece of cutlery or something because it's dropped out of your hand the third time, and it's one of those days, and I will just get into my car and just sort of drive around, and I will belt Disney songs or whatever songs I can just like scream at the top of my lungs and just sort of really enjoy it. And it almost gets all that frustration out. And then I come back and I'm exhausted. And all I've been doing is just singing and, well, screaming more than singing, but you get the gist. And it's a way to sort of acknowledge that I am very, very frustrated. And that is a really good way that I can get rid of that frustration. I think sometimes I can talk about it, but sometimes I just need some sort of other way to get the frustration out. I get the same from exercise as well. So sometimes if I'm really quite agitated or feeling just really quite almost contained, I guess, listening to some music or going to the gym for a bit or something like that is a really good way that I can just get that frustration out. But even for when I'm feeling quite happy, sometimes I want to sort of build on that, reflect that happiness and sort of build on it. So I'll put like songs that you could really sing along to, and I will just dance around in my kitchen. I'll bring my cats in with me, I'll dance with them. If my partner's around, I'll bring him in as well. We put Mambo Number 5 on or the Cha-Cha Slide or something, and just express the happiness really, and just sort of go, yeah, I'm happy and I'm going to feel really, really happy. So yeah, I think it's quite a useful tool. So now I'm going to read some of these comments, or otherwise I'll get in trouble if I don't read them and I ignore them. Firstly, Adam loves that we're matching tops. Now I thought that was quite cute that we're both wearing pink. I think
Great.
it looks pink. I'd love to say that we planned that, but you do realize we'll have to continue that now for future sessions. We will have to wear the same color now.
I know we'll have to.
Yeah. And he's asking if he'll see a duet from us at some point. Now the thing is, we did talk about this. We talked about whether we could do one. Now I don't think we'll be able to do one where we both sing at the same time because we'll be off time doing it over video. But we have spoken about doing it sort of one verse and
It won't
another
sound
verse.
good, we promise.
No, it wouldn't sound good. So we might, if I can perk up the courage to do it. But for now, I'll leave the singing to Abigail. Oh, and I've got a question for you, Abigail. Did your partner know that you were singing at the wedding? Did he know that it was one that you'd written?
Yes, he did, because he records a lot of them with me and edits them all with me too. So we work together doing it, really.
So cute. That's got to be couple goals, surely. Brilliant. So we've spoken about ways that we can sort of reflect our moods and just sort of, if we're feeling something, to how we've used music to either make ourselves feel a bit better or to just express it and let it sort of run its course. So I think something else I've noticed is that I really like pour my soul into when I'm dancing. So with the music, again, if I'm feeling frustrated, I will just sort of turn my brain off almost and just express myself in the moves and just get really invested in the music. And that seems to work really, really well. I think that really helped me, especially during exams and everything like that, where you've got so much to study for, to think about, and your brain is on overload. But I would go to my dance classes and they were like, it was about 10 hours a week at one point. It was quite a lot. But I would go there and I could just shut my brain off and just invest in the music, invest in the movements, which I guess incorporates music and exercise at the same time. But would you say that you do something similar in your songwriting and your singing?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't dance like anywhere near as much as you do. But you know, having that sort of that physical connection to the music and sort of moving rhythmically in sync with it, I find that is really helpful to connect with it as well. And I think like it has been proven to show that it can sort of increase pleasure when listening to music if you're also connecting with it rhythmically and actually sort of getting involved in it as well.
Yeah. No, it's a good point actually, because the reward pathway in our brains, it's called the mesolimbic pathway if we're being fancy, that has shown to really react strongly to music that we have an emotional connection to. So one that we really quite engage with, it's shown that it releases lots of feelings of happiness. So, and then it links to other brain areas. So it links to the amygdala and the hippocampus, and they're sort of to do with sort of emotion regulation, everything. So it's quite a regulating concept. It's really quite calming almost. It seems if there's an imbalance at the moment, it sort of brings things back into line and everything. There's a comment there. Nah, see, Lisa, you don't, not that everybody can sing, even if it's not as in tune as the next person, but singing is awesome. Singing is not just the act of singing in tune. I'm sure Abigail and professionals would disagree, but for me, it's like if you want to scream something or purposely sing out of tune, do it. Go for it.
Do it. It's
Yeah.
got so many other benefits rather than just needing to sing in tune. So go for it.
Yeah, definitely go for it. So we've spoken about sort of reflecting our moods through music. Do you think there's a way that music can actually change your moods? So if you're feeling one mood and you'd like to feel the other, for example?
Yeah, I think it can. Because, for example, even if you're listening to music and then a sad song's on and it makes you sad and you're not expecting it, but it does, and that actually does change it. And then sort of the other way around, if you are feeling down and you still want to bring it up, there's hopefully everyone would have a few songs that if they put them on, it doesn't necessarily make it opposite or probably it's not that. It just sort of raises the mood a little bit and helps you to cope with it for that time. Yeah, I think it can really help with that.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you there. I think, I don't know if anyone else has had this, but sometimes when you just feel like you really need to cry, and you can't make yourself cry. You're not quite sure what's wrong. Sometimes if I'm feeling that, I will put on certain songs that I know will make me cry, and then I cry while singing them, usually wrapped in a blanket or with some ice cream or something. And then once that's done, I feel so much better. And it makes me think that it it isn't bad to feel sad or upset. Like if we didn't feel sad or upset, the positive emotions wouldn't be nowhere near as positive as they are, basically. So I think for me, I can use music to, it doesn't quite change my mood, but it sort of helps it progress if it needs to. Because I think sometimes everybody just needs to cry a little bit sometimes, whether that's to deal with things that have happened or just because it's just one of those days. Please tell me I'm not the only one who cries and then puts on music to make myself cry more. Do you do that, Abigail, or is it just me?
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Thank goodness. I'm not the weirdo, it's all right. Or we're both weird in that case, it's fine. Oh, Kerry does that as well. We're all good. Oh, thank goodness. You're not alone. Everyone does it. But to be honest, I think everybody should. I think it's healthy to experience negative emotions because it's sort of, there's that equilibrium in your brain and it's got to sort of experience both, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're sort of listening to music while you do it, I think it sort of helps that you're not feeling alone while you're doing it. You know, obviously the music is not an actual person there, but someone has sung it or played it or whatever. And, you know, there's probably lots of other people listening to that same piece and feeling the same as you. And so I think that helps to give you a bit of support as well.
No, that's a really good point. I really like that. And then if we think about sort of if you're not feeling good and you'd like to feel good. So for some people, like myself, I'm not feeling good. I like to try and get it to ride it out. But for some people, they might not like that and might want to try and make themselves feel happy. Do you think music's able to do that as well?
Yeah, I think it can. And I think with that one especially, it kind of links to like memories with music as well. Not always, but sometimes you might have, say, a positive memory with a specific song. Like, for example, the one I was talking about, The Greatest Day, which I wrote for my wedding or whatever. You know, if then I hear that, then that's surely going to then make me feel better, rather than just a song that you don't have sort of an emotional connection or memory with. So I think, you know, as long as you pick the right songs that you do have those connections with, then I think they can really help to boost your mood and make you feel better.
No, I agree with you there because there's a good chance that it taps into like episodic memory and everything, so it attaches meaning to songs. And when you start attaching meaning and things that people can recognize and almost sort of re-experience what happened when that song played the first time, it can be quite
definitely.
it can just be quite overwhelming, and it can just remind you of better times or just other times. So if you're maybe missing someone specific and there's a song that you know reminds you of that person, that could help if you're missing them, or anything like that. Any sort of emotional attachment you have to a song, whether it's good or bad, it can be really beneficial if that is what you need to feel at that moment in time. Right. Well, no, I haven't had singing lessons outside sort of like group singing lessons, Lisa. Have you had singing lessons, Abigail? I don't want to assume that you have. But...
Yeah, but I started quite late. So I had some during my last year at school. And then when I was at Cambridge, I was in Selwyn College Choir. And they basically provide you with singing lessons, which is great. So I had singing lessons for the 3 years I was there, and they were really helpful.
God, that's handy. My school didn't do that. But no, like professional singing lessons for me. I've just done a lot of sort of group singing lessons, so they're quite fun. But I think if I wanted to go into singing more, I'd probably want to have more singing lessons. I think. I mean, I'd love to be part of a choir. I've never been part of one. I would like to be involved in one, I guess. Because you've been in choirs, haven't you, Abigail?
Yeah, so it's in, like I just said, I was in Selwyn College Choir. That was probably the biggest one that I've been in. So we've done tours in the US, done recordings, done lots of concerts, services 3 times a week. So that was a pretty big commitment.
Wow.
And then other choirs in school, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Loads of experience for you. But yes, Lisa, there is definitely hope for you. It's never too late to start any new hobby or anything like that. Just go for it. Go for it. Okay, so if, say, you weren't feeling the best, what would be sort of like your top 1 or 2 songs that you know if you put on, you're going to feel a lot better?
Okay. Well, there are a few, but one of the main ones is actually You Can't Stop the Beat, which is from the musical Hairspray.
Yes.
And I just really love the song, and I love the musical and sort of where the song comes in the musical. So I think that sort of adds to my enjoyment of the song itself, like the meanings behind it. And then probably another one is Waterloo by ABBA. Gotta have a bit of
Such a good
ABBA in
taste
there.
in songs. Yes.
And both of them are like great to sort of dance to and connect with as well. Sort of physically, what you said obviously does help. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
What
brilliant.
about
Me. One of my favorite ones is from the Disney Pixar film Cars. It's actually from that one, and it's called Life is a Highway, and it's like one that is on at
okay?
various points in the film, and it's just sort of about how fast life goes by, but they're just gonna ride with it, they're gonna join with it, they're just gonna embrace it and just go wherever it goes. And I love it. I will just put it on repeat. If it ever comes on, it gets turned up in my car. Oh, my mother's joined us, as has yours.
So is
But they
mine.
said Mr.
You can
Blue
tell I've
Sky
been
is
brought up
empty.
on ABBA.
Oh yeah, there you go. So you've got ELO and ABBA. Both very good choices, guys. But no, I would say that a lot of my music taste is from my parents. Actually, the majority of things that I like these days are usually things they've shown me when I was younger. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Although we can't ever say that to them in person because it will increase their ego far too much. They'll never put on
I
anything
think they
else
might
now.
have
They'll
just
be
heard
like,
it.
I think so. Close your ears, guys. You didn't hear it. Okay, different question for you. Now, I know this is a bit, because they're your songs, but of all the songs that you've written, are there any that have the same effect as Waterloo and Dancing Queen and all of those, would you say?
So maybe not quite the same, because most of mine are sort of a little bit slower, sort of. They're not really dance music as much as like ABBA would be, for example. But I think, yeah, there's still some that I really enjoy singing, and it has sort of that same effect of bringing my mood up when I sing them. Just yeah, not quite dancing along to them, but yeah.
Yeah. Is there any chance, I know I asked you this last time you came on, but do you fancy singing one for us?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
So I'll sing one of the ones that does make me happy when I sing it. It's called Scarlet and Roe, and I released it back in July.
I'll take myself out of this. Okay. Oh, that didn't work. I'm so good at this. Why is it just doing you? Hang on.
Okay. So this is Scarlet and Roe. Well, you've heard of Molly Melon, and you've heard of Bobby Shafto, but have you heard of a sailor who traveled the world? Her name was Scarlet and Roe. She began at Dublin and then down to Cork. Then she sailed the Atlantic to the state of New York, where she drank and gambled her money away. So she left the very next day. Scarlet and Roe, Scarlet and Roe, what a fun, strong young woman was she. She sailed down to Cuba and then to Brazil, then across to Gabon and Libreville, where she lay on the beaches and bathed in the sea before heading back to the Cape. Then she traveled to Cape Town and up to Oman, and across the Gulf onto Pakistan, where she watched the boats at Tunga River. But the sea she did still prefer. Scarlet and Roe, Scarlet and Roe, what a fun, strong young woman was she. She sailed to China and Malaysia, then she traveled south to Australia, where she surfed and dived to the Barrier Reef, but was away in the night like a thief. Then she traveled via Russia to Canada, where she met a boy who said he loved her. He said if she stayed, they could build a family. But she said she preferred the sea. Scarlet and Roe, Scarlet and Roe, she never loved as she loved the sea. Scarlet and Roe, Scarlet and Roe, what a fun, strong young sailor was she. What a fun, strong young sailor was she. What a fun, strong young sailor was she.
Unmute myself. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And you had lots of really good comments in the chat there. I think they really enjoyed that.
Good.
So just out of curiosity, how do you feel having sung that?
Well, I was a bit nervous doing it, so that sort of takes away the side a bit. But when I just sing it myself, and even then, like, I enjoyed singing it. To make it clear, the main reason I was so nervous is because I usually accompany myself on guitar. But with that on, it just doesn't really work on guitar for me, so I have to do it on keyboard. So I had to have my little keyboard out, but it's quite hard to do some of it at the same time. But yeah, I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy singing it because it's nice and fairly easy to sing, but also I enjoy doing it because I like the message I was trying to get across in it. You know, it's for a bit of fun as well, but it's to sort of get across that, you know, despite stereotypes, women can do whatever they want and do whatever they want just as well as or better than men can, depending on the person, whatever.
No, that's really nice. Thank you for that. Well, we're starting to come up to sort of the end of this first session. Is there anything that you'd like to sort of add to this, Abigail, and before we finish up?
Not too much really. Obviously, we suggested a couple of songs that help us when we're feeling down. So I guess if people want to have a think of other songs that will help them if they're in a similar situation, or, you know, music being cathartic and helping get out frustrations and sadness as well. You know, I think, as we've tried to say, music can really help. So even if you just sort of have a few songs in your locker that you can just put on, or you can play and sing yourself if you do that, that can help you in those situations to express certain emotions, I think it can really help.
No, I definitely agree. I have a couple of playlists on my phone. So I have a happy playlist, a sad playlist, and an excited playlist. And I know it sounds really quite corny, but sometimes it's really quite nice when I'm feeling a particular mood, I could just go to those playlists. So if anybody who's listening or watching this later on, if music really does sort of have that same influence as it does on us, maybe try making the playlists, and then they're always there for you. Then you know that whatever you're feeling as a playlist there, and hopefully it will help you feel a little bit better, or just help you properly feel whatever you're feeling at the time. So if it's me, I'm crying a lot, but it does feel good. So we do have our sort of second session of this podcast series scheduled for the 23rd, same time, I believe, 1 p.m, 23rd of September. And what was the topic, Abigail? Do you remember?
I think we were going to look at the benefits of actually participating in ensemble music and dance on mental health.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, so we'll sort of, obviously we'll talk about sort of music as an individual sense like we did today, but then we'll look into how that might differ being in a big group with people that also relate to the same things as you. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to tune into that one too. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I've definitely enjoyed this session. I hope Abigail has as well, and I hope you guys have too.
Yeah, I hope too.
Fantastic. So tune in later today, 6 p.m. UK Standard time. There's an interesting podcast going on. I think it's Kerry Burt, and it's either Adam or other Kerry who will be live with the Mental Health Transformations charity. So that'll be a really good one. So definitely tune in if you'd be interested in seeing that. And thanks for joining us on Warrior TV, and we hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye, everyone.